10 reasons to ship Betty and Veronica. If you know anything about my channel, you knew this video was coming sooner or later. What's going on, YouTube? So I figured we'd take a break from the spoiler videos and I'd hit you guys with some of that good old classic Smurf. And that is giving you guys reasons to ship a certain great ship on a TV show. But since you guys do love spoilers so much, I'm gonna go ahead and give you one before we get into this video. I'm actually working on other ship videos like this one for other ships on this show. Because as you guys know, Veronica isn't the only ship that I ship, but it may be the one that I ship the most, which is why it's gonna be the one that I make a video about first. And despite it only being 5 episodes, with the 6th episode coming on later tonight, can't wait by the way, it still wasn't very difficult at all for me to come up with these 10 reasons. So let's not waste any more time and go ahead and jump into reason number 1. They hit it off instantly, and their chemistry was obvious and apparent. There was literally no point in this show whatsoever that you looked at Betty and Veronica and thought to yourself, you know what, they just don't have that much chemistry. I just don't see that spark between them. Not one time did you ever think that when watching these two on screen. It's almost like you would call it destiny. Isn't that right, Veronica? Reason number 2. Veronica called Betty a smoke show, hot, and smart. These are quite the compliments to give to somebody that you just met. For anyone who wants to deny the obvious attraction that Veronica has for Betty, and I'll get more into that later with another reason, please direct them to this moment, because it's very obvious that Veronica thinks very highly of Betty, both mentally and physically. Reason number 3. They had the sexiest and most intense kiss on the show so far. Sorry, Archie and Veronica and soon to be Bughead, but this is true. I mean, there was some straight up passion in that kiss. And if I didn't know any better, I would say that that kiss didn't just happen because they were trying to get on the cheerleading squad. I'm a firm believer that all kisses tell a story. And that kiss was telling a far different story and a far different tale than that. And for those who don't believe me, I challenge you to go back and watch that kiss and tell yourselves that there was nothing more to it than just trying to get on the cheerleading squad. Go ahead. Reason number 4. Veronica stood up for Betty the first chance that she got when Cheryl turned her down from the cheerleading squad. And this was one of those when you know it's real moments. I mean, Veronica and Betty had just met, and already Veronica is sticking her neck out for her the first opportunity that she got. I mean, she straight up put Cheryl in her place. If her and her new best friend couldn't join the squad together, then neither one of them were joining the cheerleading squad. Real friends stick together, and that was a true display of friendship. Reason number 5. Betty was the first person that Veronica really opened up to in Riverdale. You could tell that Veronica just felt this instant closeness and this instant bond when it came to Betty. Never once did Veronica show any hesitation when it comes to Betty. You could tell that it was just this instant level of trust, which I guess goes back to the instant connection that Veronica clearly had with Betty. Reason number 6. After Veronica's first screw up with Archie, she completely went out of her way to beg and plead for Betty's forgiveness. Not because she wanted it, but because she needed it. And Betty was quick to grant it, despite how hurt that she was. Which leads me to reason number 7. They can't stay mad at each other. Even though Betty was very angry and very upset with Veronica with what she did to her involving Archie, and even though Veronica was really upset with Betty because of the way that she was treating her over the whole situation, they were both still very, very quick to forgive each other. Because despite just meeting very recently, I think that they both knew that they had something special in the other person, and they knew deep down, no matter how upset that they might have been, they didn't want to go the rest of the school year, or life for that matter, without the other person in it. And if they had to swallow their pride, so be it. Because Betty was worth it to Veronica, and Veronica was worth it to Betty. Reason number 9. Much like how Veronica was there to stick up for Betty against Cheryl, Betty was there to stick up for Veronica against Chuck. A very displeased and angry Betty, I might add, was very, very visually upset when seeing another person upset her friend. And I remember this because of the way that she called Chuck a jerk, and probably the most hilarious way I've ever seen somebody called a jerk. It was pretty funny. But seeing Betty stick up for Veronica like that, in the same way that Veronica had hers, just another reminder of how great that their relationship really is. And reason number 10. Last but certainly not least, the lustful way that Veronica looked at Betty in the episode Body Double. And don't you tell me that that look was anything but very lustful. And just like I said earlier in the video on how obvious it is that Veronica is attracted to Betty, because not only did she admit it with her words, but she also admitted it with her eyes. I mean, what else more do you want? Veronica told Betty that she was hot. Veronica gave her the most lustful look that you will ever see someone give someone, and Veronica kissed her. I mean, people, if you don't want to believe at this point that there's an attraction level going on here, it's because you don't want to believe. And that's fine. But don't you dare lie to me and tell me otherwise. Because doing so would mean blatantly ignoring all of the obvious evidence just so you can live in your own world of delusion. Now, speaking of delusion, don't get it twisted. I don't for 1 second believe that Betty and Veronica will ever be together romantically. Because I don't think that the writers are smart enough to go in that direction. And by all means, feel free to prove me wrong. But that's what I believe, going by your own interviews. But just because a couple is never officially together, that doesn't always mean that you can't ship them together. And although I'm not typically one to do that, I wouldn't mind Veronica being the exception and not the rule. Because they really do have one of the better bonds on the show, and their chemistry is among one of the best on the show. And there's even some queer baiting to give me a bunch of false hope. So this ship has a little bit of everything going on for it right now. And there are definitely reasons to ship it. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section below. What are your reasons that you ship Veronica? I'm sure there will be even more reasons to add to the list going forward. Maybe even in tonight's episode, perhaps. But I'm done talking. And if you guys really enjoyed this video, you know what to do. But as always, until next time.